Hi guys, today we're going to be taking a look around the garden. It's July now, so things are growing really nicely at this point. I'm getting some production. I've been able to harvest a few things. We're going to start here with the tomatoes. The tomatoes are doing pretty well. For a couple of weeks now, I've been harvesting Sun Gold cherry tomatoes, and I've also been able to harvest another tomato. I'm not sure which variety it is because I got the seeds in a trade and they were mislabeled. I'm starting to see some septoria leaf spot on some of my tomato plants, so I have sprayed some fungicide one time, and I've been trying really hard to keep up with removing all of the diseased foliage. That always helps slow it down. This is my cantaloupes. I haven't shown you these plants before. The variety I'm growing is Amish, and I planted my cantaloupe seeds in this big pot in early June. I don't really have a reason for putting them in a pot and not in the ground. I just wanted to try it and see how it goes. So far they're looking good. They're starting to get flowers on them. These are my peppers. I have some peppers in containers and some in the ground. I tend to have better luck growing peppers in containers for some reason. The peppers in this blue pot are Jimmy Nardello. I also have some coral bell peppers planted. I believe I have a banana pepper and also beaver dam peppers. A couple of the pepper plants that are planted in the ground got hit really hard by one tomato hornworm. It completely defoliated one plant and the other plant was topped off, but they are starting to make a comeback. Next are my eggplants. I'm really happy with how these are turning out. I usually plant my eggplants in the ground and they are severely attacked by flea beetles. It's usually so bad that I hardly get any eggplants, but these are looking pretty good in this pot. Because there are 3 eggplants in this pot, I do have to water it a lot, and there is some bug damage on the leaves, but they look so much better than they usually do. The variety I'm growing is called Shooting Stars, and they're really pretty. They're white with purple streaks, or maybe they're purple with white streaks. I don't know. Whatever they are, they're really pretty. They seem to be productive. I've harvested a couple of them. They tasted really good. Next up are the cucumbers. I always grow my cucumbers in tomato cages and just trellis them up. Even though tomato cages are just kind of so-so for growing tomatoes, they are really good for growing cucumbers in. I have 2 different varieties. One is called Homemade Pickles, and the other variety is Bush Space Master or something like that. My green bean trellis is covered in green beans. I have 3 types of green beans. One is purple potted pole, the next one is rattlesnake, and the third one is some kind of greasy bean. I can't remember the name. I did harvest some green beans the other day. They were really good. The Japanese beetles are eating some of the leaves, but they're not too much of a nuisance this year. Some years there are so many, other years they're not too much of a problem. These plants are rose red soba buckwheat. It's a perennial buckwheat that has really pretty pink flowers once they do flower. I haven't got to see those yet. I have to say I've seen buckwheat before, and this does not look like any buckwheat that I've ever seen. It's a very pretty plant. Once the plants put on flowers and bloom, I'll show you guys what they look like. I posted a video about zinnias last week, so I'm not going to talk too much about them, but there is one variety I want to talk about, and that's Queen Lime Orange. Altogether, I planted 5 Queen Lime Orange zinnia seeds, and I have 5 plants. 3 of them came up looking exactly how Queen Lime Orange is supposed to look, and 2 of them look a lot different. This pinkish purplish zinnia is one of the 2 that doesn't look quite right, but I think this one is really pretty. So I have been researching how to hand pollinate zinnias because I would like to preserve the traits of this pink one. For that to happen, it can't cross-pollinate with any of the neighboring zinnia plants that doesn't look like it. So to keep them from cross-pollinating, I am going to have to hand pollinate this plant. So I'm going to do that, and be sure to watch for that in a future video. It'll be coming up really soon. The other Queen Lime Orange plant that turned out differently is this pink, greenish, reddish, purplish zinnia. It's kind of an interesting flower. I don't think I'm going to mess with hand pollinating this one. The next plant I want to show you is my Tomatillo plant. It is covered in tomatillos. It looks great. This is my second time growing tomatillos. The first time that I did it was the year before last. I only planted one tomatillo plant and I was a little bit worried because I read a whole bunch of stuff that said you need 2 tomatillo plants to pollinate each other. Well, that is not true at all, at least for the tomatillos I'm growing, because this plant is covered in tomatillos and I only have one plant. This variety is supposed to be a purple tomatillo. My watermelons are still doing good. You guys got to see these last week. The royal golden watermelon is really starting to change color. Its appearance kind of reminds me of a pumpkin. Once the skin turns golden yellow on this watermelon, it's supposed to be ripe. But I'm still going to look for all the other signs of ripeness that I look for when I pick watermelons, just in case. I have a few different herbs growing in my gardens. Today I'm just going to show you the basil. I have 2 kinds. I have lettuce leaf basil, which has these really big crinkly leaves. It's a really pretty plant. And the other variety of basil that I have is Genovese. The strawberries that I grew from seed are doing really good. They're a lot bigger than I thought they would be at this point. Some of them are already sending off little runners. I don't think I'll get any fruit from these until next year though. I'm growing some celery this year, just one plant. I've never grown celery before. And I just planted this squash a few weeks ago, so it's not very big yet. This is a patty pan squash. Here's my sunflowers growing. They don't have flowers on them yet, but they will soon. And that's going to be pretty much it for this video. There are things growing in my small garden that I'm not showing you today, but I will show them to you in a future video. Over in that garden, I have onions, carrots, my alpine strawberries, some rudbeckia flowers, and probably a few things that I'm forgetting right now. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.